Hi everyone, this is Bhavya Sharma from the Med Concepts of Bhavya, and I know it has been a long time since I've posted, but yes, we are back for good, and 2024 is going to be the year of a lot of lectures about anatomy and other medical aspects. So, without any further ado, I want you to know that today I have brought you the lecture on the muscle, which is the deltoid muscle. It is a muscle in the upper limb. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Basically, this is going to be the first part of the deltoid video lecture, and in this video you already know the basic routine, right? When we study a muscle, we are going to talk about the definition, the origin, the insertion of the muscle, the features of the muscle, the blood supply and the nerve supply, followed by clinical anatomy, which will be done in the part 2. The clinical anatomy and some other important aspects of deltoid, we will be doing it in the part 2. Before starting about where the deltoid muscle is present, I want you to know the definition of deltoid muscle, which can be divided into three parts. So you can remember it in three parts. See, you can either write your notes in these points like this, and you will be given numbers like marks. I'm talking about exam marks, or you can write them as a big whole sentence, but I would suggest you to write it in points because an examiner checks your paper only for 3 to 5 minutes. So if you see in this video, it's like there is a diagram given here, there is diagram given here, I have written the answers in point. So when a teacher sees the note like this, it is easier for them to give you marks than you writing big paragraphs. Okay, so first of all, what you need to know is the definition of deltoid. First, it is a very large muscle and it is triangular in shape. So if you see, this is the front part of the deltoid. Okay, you can see it here as well. It is a triangular shaped muscle. Okay, it's a 3D type of diagram. It is large and triangular muscle. And the second point that you need to know is it lies over. Over means it lies above. That is, it covers the glenohumeral joint. GH as in glenohumeral joint. Now what is glenohumeral joint? We'll bring our scapula. This is the scapula. This part is the glenoid fossa, right? And we have the humerus here. So just think my hand as the head of the humerus and it attaches here. So this part which is getting formed is known as the glenohumeral joint, and here above the glenohumeral joint we have the deltoid. The front part is here, the medial part is here, and the lateral part is at the back of the deltoid, which I'll explain further. So it basically covers the glenohumeral joint. Now, the third thing, obviously, when it covers the shoulder joint, it gives a round contour. That is, we have a contour, right? We have a feeling of shoulders. That is, we have a round contour of shoulder, right? That is because of the deltoid muscle. If you go to gym or if you work out regularly, you must be knowing the importance of deltoid, because whenever we are doing upper body exercises, deltoid is very important for the shape of the shoulder, so that our shoulders look broader and we look more confident when we have better deltoids. So basically, the deltoid covers this area of our shoulder joint. I'll just add a picture on the screen, and that gives a beautiful round shaped contour to the shoulder. Okay, so it gives a beautiful finish to our shoulders. So this is the definition. It is large, triangular, it is above or it lies over the glenohumeral joint, and it gives a round contour to the shoulder. Now the next thing that you need to know is how many parts does a deltoid have. For that, we have these two diagrams through which I will teach you. It has three parts: anterior part, medial part and lateral part. The anterior part is given in this diagram. So if you see a clavicle, we have a clavicle right here. Okay, this is a left side clavicle. Yes, this is a left side clavicle, and this is the medial part, this is the lateral part. So from the lateral part we have deltoid coming like this. So just imagine this as the clavicle, this is the lateral part, and we'll have a phone case. I'll just bring my phone case. Just imagine this as my deltoid. It comes like this in the front. From the front aspect, the deltoid anterior part comes. Okay, so we are going to talk about the origin later. So that is the anterior part. The medial part comes over this part from the acromion process. This is the acromion process. We have the medial part. and the lateral part is behind from the crest of spine of scapula. If you don't remember the parts of scapula, I'll just recap it here for a moment, and you can go to the scapula video in my channel, on my channel, and go and see it. This is the spine of scapula. This is the acromion process. This is the coracoid process, and this is the glenoid fossa. So, from the spine of scapula, we have the posterior deltoid. From the acromion part, we have the middle deltoid. And from the anterior, that is from the lateral part of the clavicle, we have the anterior part of deltoid. Okay. So, I've already showed you the origin, and now we'll just go through the theory here. Now, since we already know that we have 3 fibers, right? So, when we have 3 deltoids, 3 parts of deltoid, the origin also will be from 3 parts. That is, anterior will originate from one part, medial will originate from one part, and lateral will originate from one part. So, you should know the origin is from 3 parts, but insertion is at one point, which we will discuss later. So, first one is the anterior deltoid. The anterior deltoid, origin of the anterior or front deltoid. It is also known as front deltoid because it lies in front. Okay, it originates from the anterior border and lateral part of the 1/3 of the clavicle. Now I will show it to you in the real bone. This is our clavicle, right? Right. This is the lateral part. From the anterior border, which is this part, this anterior border, and the lateral part. Lateral part, this is the lateral half, this is the medial half. From the lateral half and the anterior border, we have the front deltoid coming. So if you see here in this diagram, this one, this is the lateral part. Okay. This part is the lateral part, and this is the anterior border. From here, our front deltoid is getting originated. Now we'll talk about the middle deltoid. In the middle deltoid, you will see it originates from the lateral border of the acromion process. Okay, so we'll just go to the posterior side of acromion of the scapula. This is the acromion process, and this is the lateral border of the acromion process. From here, we have the medial deltoid or the middle deltoid. Okay. If you see in the diagram, it is also shown here. See, this is the scapula, this is the sternum and xiphoid sternum. This is the clavicle. This is the posterior side of the scapula. It is clearly written here. It is the posterior view. Here it was anterior view. I have written here anterior view. So in the posterior view, you see these are 2 fibers. Okay, this is the lateral deltoid and this is the medial deltoid. Lateral or posterior deltoid means the same. This is the middle deltoid which we are talking about. So this is the acromion process. From the lateral border, we have this muscle originating. These 2. This black border, no, I have made. This is the medial deltoid. So that is how you have to make the diagram. Now we talk about the origin of posterior or rear deltoid, which is also known as lateral deltoid. It originates from the lower lip of the crest of spine of the scapula. Again, we'll go to the diagram 3, which is this one, and we will see in the diagram 2 as well. First, I'll show it in the diagram 2. First, we'll see it in the bone. We'll go to the posterior of scapula. We know that this part is the spine of scapula. From the lower border of spine of scapula, that is the lower lip of crest. This is the crest of scapula. This is the whole spine, the lower lip. Here we have the posterior deltoid, which is also known as the lateral deltoid, which is also known as the rear deltoid. So if you see in this diagram also, same thing has been made. And if you see here, this guy is standing in the lateral view. Okay, that is, he is standing sideways like a crab. And when you see sideways, you see that this part, that is the back part, which is the spine of the scapula, we have the third fiber originating, that is the posterior deltoid. So if you see in this diagram, anterior deltoid is this one, posterior is at the back, and anterior or the medial one is in the front. This is the origin of the deltoid. I hope it is clear. And if it is not clear, please comment down in the comment section below and I will clear your doubts. Now we will talk about the insertion of the deltoid. Now we are going to talk about the insertion. See, there is a difference between the origin of the deltoid and the insertion of the deltoid, and that difference is the origin of deltoid is from three fibers, that is posterior, middle and anterior. Okay, but the insertion is at one point, that is all the three parts come together and point into or insert into one point, which is the deltoid tuberosity, the point of insertion. Now where is the deltoid tuberosity? I have brought my humerus bone here. We know this is the arm bone. So this is the anterior aspect of the humerus. If you see a little laterally, here there is a rough part. Okay, if you see, I can't focus, one second, I'll just bring it closer. If you see here, this part, this rough part is the deltoid tuberosity. So this is the anterior aspect, and if you see in the lateral, there is a rough feeling here over the bone, which is the deltoid tuberosity. So this is the bone. Okay, it's getting blurred. This is the bone. If you go close this side, and if you see in the lateral aspect, we have the deltoid tuberosity, where all the fibers of the deltoid come together and attach. That is why it is colored in blue, because when I was teaching bone anatomy, I colored the insertions with blue. Okay, so if you see in the diagram, this is a little more realistic type of diagram. If you see here, this guy is standing in the lateral side, that is standing sideways. We can see that we have the anterior deltoid here, the middle deltoid here, and the posterior deltoid here. All of these three are coming together to this point, which is this point that we just saw. You keep the bone like this and see the lateral point, this point, and all the fibers are getting attached at this junction, which is the deltoid tuberosity. So the insertion of deltoid tuberosity, you can make this diagram, the lateral view diagram, and you can point this part, which is the insertion at the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus bone. Now I want to show you a better illustration, that is a more dynamic or 3D illustration, in which you can see how the origin and insertion is occurring. This is the lateral part of the clavicle, from where the anterior deltoid comes, from the lower lip, that is the lower border, anterior border and lateral part of the clavicle. Then we have the acromion, which is there in the scapula. From the acromion lateral part, we have the middle deltoid, and the spine of scapula, lower lip, we have the posterior deltoid. All of these three come together, and there is the humerus deltoid tuberosity, where we have the insertions. Now you might ask, what is these green structures? Can you see? These green structures are known as septa. Okay, that is there on the next page. Okay, so I just made a mistake and I corrected it. There are totally 3 septas of insertion and 4 septum of origin. I'll explain what it is in the next page. So we are going to talk about the features of the deltoid muscle. So what you need to know first of all about deltoid muscle is it is a multi-pennate muscle. What is multi-pennate? That is the important thing here. Multi means many. We already know many, that is more than one. And pennate means feather-like structure. If you see here, it looks like a kind of feather, right? In this diagram, these fibers are running this way, these fibers are running this way, and these fibers are running this way. So it's like a feather-like structure. So it is a multi-pennate muscle. Now what is multi-pennate basically is that there are more than one fiber of attachment. Okay, first I'll read this part, okay. By multi-pennate, it means that there are more than or many fibers arising from one point of attachment. So what does it mean? This is the point of attachment, acromion part, right? From the acromion part, we are getting 4 septa of fibers. And if you also see, acromion part has his fibers running like this, the anterior part has its fibers running like this, and the posterior part's fibers are running like this. Everything is running in different directions and then coming together and forming the insertion. That is what is multi-pennate muscle. So there are a lot of fibers, different kind of fibers running together. They are originating from one point. So this is the point of origin. One fiber is originating like this, one is originating like this, one is originating like this, but then they are coming together, all the three, and inserting at one point. That is what is multipennate muscle. Now what you should know here is, in the deltoid, that is in the middle part of the deltoid, this part, we have 4 septa. So if you see, we have 4 septa of origin in the medial part, that is the acromial part or the medial part of the deltoid, and 3 septa of insertion. Okay, remember this. Now these we have talked about. So what is multipennate muscle? It is a feather-like structure. It has many fibers originating from one point and inserting into one point. Now we will talk about the nerve supply and the blood supply of the deltoid. The nerve supply of the deltoid is the axillary nerve. Okay, the axillary nerve. You just have to write axillary nerve and the root value. So what is the root value of axillary nerve? We know C5 and C6. We will study all these root values in brachial plexus. That will be further coming video which will be made soon. So C5 and C6 is the root value of the axillary nerve. Now coming to the blood supply. This muscle is very rich in the blood supply. Why? Because it is a very big muscle. I already told you on the very first point, right? It is a large muscle. So larger muscle, larger blood supply. So it has a very rich vascular supply, that is the blood supply, and it gets the blood from 2 major arteries. One is the axillary artery. You can remember axillary nerve and axillary artery. Okay. So one is the axillary artery and another major artery is the brachial artery. So if you see from the axillary artery, we get 4 branches that supply the deltoid. The first one is thoracoacromial artery. Okay. Then the second part is, sorry for the overhand writing, subscapular artery, SUB, subscapular artery. And then we have anterior and posterior circumflex humeral artery. These 4 arteries are from the axillary artery. The main branch is the axillary artery, from which these 4 arteries are branched out and they supply to the deltoid. Now from the brachial artery, we have one, which is deep brachial artery. Okay, so deep brachial artery from the brachial artery, and these 4 from the axillary artery supply the deltoid, and there are a lot of blood supplies because deltoid is a large muscle. Now we have the actions of the deltoid. The first thing about deltoid is it is a very powerful abductor. Abduction is away from the body. It is a very powerful abductor of the arm, that is the glenohumeral joint. So what you need to know here is, from 0 degree, that is the beginning of the shoulder joint abduction, till the 90 degree, deltoid is the major muscle that helps in that action. Abduction, ABD, action, abduction, that is 0 degree to 90 degree, deltoid has the major involvement. Okay. Second, it is also a very strong stabilizing factor. Rotator cuff muscles. Do you know what are rotator cuff muscles? They are SITS, SITS. Okay, I will teach about them in detail in another lecture. It is a whole 5-mark topic. So I'll just have the picture attached on the screen. This is what is known as this right here somewhere it will be there. It is the rotator cuff muscle. Along with these muscles, deltoid also stabilizes the glenohumeral joint. How does it stabilize the glenohumeral joint? Because basically it covers the glenohumeral joint, right? So it helps in stabilizing the glenohumeral joint and it helps to prevent dislocation. Second point. Third point, the anterior fibers of deltoid, that is these fibers. These fibers, anterior fibers, or if you see here, the anterior fibers, they are a very strong help of flexors and medial rotators of the arm. I will show you how these movements are done. Don't worry. They are very strong flexors and medial rotators of the arm. And the posterior fibers are the opposite. That is these fibers, the posterior fibers here. These are the extensors and the lateral rotators of the arm. The last thing that I want you to know in this lecture is multipennate muscles, right? We know that deltoid is a multipennate muscle, right? We just talked about it. So why are the multipennate muscles stronger than other muscles, that is unipennate muscles or bipennate muscles and all that. I will also take a separate lectures about the pennate muscles, but for now you should know that multipennate muscles are that there is a lot of fibers originating from one point of origin and inserting into one point of insertion. So why are these more stronger than the other muscles? This might be asked in Viva. Okay, it might be asked in 2 marks or Viva for your practicals. It might be important for that. So why? Because multipennate, see what did I tell you? When it is a multipennate muscle, the fibers are running in different directions. One fiber, two fibers, and third fiber, right? And it is multipennate and it has multiple septas, right? It has 4 septa of origin if you see in deltoid, right? So different fibers are coming together. So when, okay, we'll just take an example. You take a box, okay, we'll take 2 boxes, and in one box I'm arranging fibers in various different directions. One like this, one like this, then again like this, then again like this, then something like this, and then this. Okay, this is, every fiber is in different directions. One is in this direction, one is in this direction, like that, in the same size of box. And in one diagram I'm just filling the box with one type of fiber. So what do you think has more fibers? This box, right? In the smaller proportion, same size of box, more fibers are getting attached or more fibers are being composed because of the different type of designal structure, right? So what happens is, in the multipennate muscles, this is multipennate and this is bipennate or unipennate. Unipennate you can take this because one type of fiber. What happens is, large number of fibers are packed into a smaller volume. And we know that is, we are going to know this after reading this part, that strength of contraction, that is, contraction means what? Any contraction, muscle contraction, okay? So strength of a muscle is directly proportional to the number of muscle fibers present. So here the muscle fibers are higher, so the strength will be higher, and here the muscle fibers are lower, so the strength will be relatively lower. This is what I wanted you to understand, and this might be asked in Viva, and you should also know this as a medical perspective, so that when you are coming across some problem with deltoid, or if you're a physical therapist and training somebody's deltoid muscle after injury, you should know this. So hey guys, this is all about the video for today. We have gone through the deltoid muscles definition, origin, some diagrams, insertion, a more defined diagram, features of the deltoid, nerve supply, blood supply, and we have also learned the actions and why the multipennate muscles like deltoid are stronger than the other muscles. So that is all about today's video. I hope you understood it. I hope it was easy to understand, and I hope I was elaborate enough for you to understand. The notes of these videos will be uploaded on my page, and it will also be uploaded on my YouTube as well. You can take these notes, and I can guarantee you can write exactly these notes, these diagrams, and you can score marks as much as possible. It depends on the professor basically, but you can score high marks writing these answers. I will post these notes on my IG and my YouTube. Also, if you have any doubts or any questions, or have any suggestions or advices related to what lectures you want or my way of teaching or anything, please comment down in the comment section below. I would be glad to read your point of views, and I would be glad to help you with your doubts or confusions or anything. And also, if you like the lectures, if you enjoy studying with me, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share it with the people who might find it useful, and also subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next class with the part 2 of deltoid. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care. Stay safe. Signing off, Bhavya Sharma.